Good morning, viewer. Welcome to our first activity. Here is the breaking news from Jakarta, Indonesia. Yes, Indonesian Maria Loretta used to study law at a university in East Java, but it is not her expertise in law which makes her a household name in East Flores Regency in the province of East Nusa Tenggara. It is her persistence in educating people about sorghum, a cereal plant which earns the 54-year-old activist the nickname Mama Sorghum. For about 10 years, Madam Loretta has been going from one place to another, trained communities about sorghum and how to cultivate it. I was given the nickname Mama Sorghum in 2013 because at that time I was probably the only person nationwide who went to various places to introduce it to communities, said Madam Loretta. She had never known about the plant until a neighbor gave it to her in 2007. I personally was intrigued in preserving it because of the taste, she said, describing the flavor as a bit nutty and sweet. When a neighbor gave it to me, I asked her whether there were any seeds for me to plant, said Madam Loretta, adding, however, there were not enough sorghum seeds to plant in a land of 3 hectares. Therefore, she felt challenged to find the seeds in East Flores. So, he started looking for the seeds from village to village, something pushed him to keep going. And at last, he found out the sorghum was still being cultivated by some farmers who lived in remote areas far away from roads and with bad electricity. It was not an easy task to convince others to preserve the crop, she said, as they were used to eating rice and did not use the necessity to plant and consume it. Over time, people understand the nutritional benefits of consuming sorghum as well as the economic benefits of planting it. Today, about 1,000 people, mostly female farmers, are involved in sorghum cultivation in about 8 regencies in East Nusa Tenggara. President Joko Widodo visited the province last June and was impressed with how locals cultivate the cereal. He is even convinced that sorghum should be a national staple food to reduce people's reliance on rice or wheat. It should also reduce Indonesia's dependence on wheat exports, which have been affected by increased uncertainty due to climate change and the Ukraine war. We want to have lots of food alternatives, lots of choice that we can cultivate in our country. Food diversification and food ingredient alternatives. So we don't only depend on rice. Instead, we can have corn, sago and sorghum, which is our ancient crop, said Mr. Widodo, who is also popularly known as Jokowi, when visiting a sorghum field recently. In August, Jokowi instructed his ministers and relevant officials to draw up a roadmap for Indonesia's sorghum production. Analysts spoke to the journalist and believed that sorghum could be a solution to the country's depleting rice stocks, which forces the government to import. This month, the government decided to import 2 lakh tons of rice to replenish the state logistics agency rice stocks that have been depleted. Dear Nazibod, first activity.